Yep.
Okay. Hi, welcome to NDE TV. I'm Peggy Robinson. Today's guest is Kim Keel, and she's going to tell us about her near-death experience. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Peggy. Hi. Thanks for having me. Yeah, first I want to start out by saying I gave my life to Jesus April 24th, 2020. Okay. Now we're going to go back to where I was 3. We have to go back because I didn't understand any of this stuff that happened to me until I sincerely dedicated myself to God. Now I understand it all and I'm actually living it. I'm experiencing it. So back when I was 3, I remember specifically my sister putting me to bed, and I didn't know what an alien was or anything like that. I didn't know at that age, nothing like that. But I was scared. I had the fear, so much fear over me in that bedroom. She put me to bed. And I turned around and looked at my door, and I saw what I always called these 3 boogeymen standing in my doorway. There were 3 of them right there, but today they look like aliens to me. Demon. Okay. And I didn't know. And all my life, I was like, why would I see them 3 boogeymen in my bedroom at 3 years old? It scared me to death. Okay. Then now about the age of 7, my mama started sending me to church on the church bus. And then she eventually came in and got saved herself. And so at 9, now I'm 9. Now we come home from Sunday church service morning, and I go back in my bed to take a nap, which I just got in the bed, and I was wide awake for this. And I felt somebody's hands on my feet pulling me off the bed. And I'm sliding off the bed, and I'm kicking to stay on the bed. And I didn't see anybody, but I knew it was the devil. I didn't have to see him. And he was pulling me off the bed, trying to. And when he did that, my bedroom door, which was in front of me, busted open. And I didn't see anybody there, but I knew that was Jesus. I didn't have to see nobody there. I knew who that was. And the pulling stopped. And then the door starts going bam, 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 bam. And I'm sitting here watching it. They're fighting over me. And I was like, what in the world? And then it just said, wham, it busted open and everything was over. And I'm sitting up in my bed watching it. The sunny haze, like this golden sunny haze with the sparkly stuff in it, came across my bedroom. And it was just full. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know what no Shekinah glory was at that age. Never heard of it. I know now what it was, but I knew that Jesus had won and it was peaceful. And it was just this haze looking, sunny haze with this sparkly stuff in it. And I didn't know what that meant. So I get up and I go out in the kitchen. I talk to my mother and I'm like, Mama, what just happened back there in my bedroom? And she's washing dishes. Well, it's going to be a battle over your soul. I'm like, yeah, but there's a battle over everybody's soul. So why did I see that? Why did that happen to me? And I never did know. Well, moving on up, I start getting about 11, 12 years old. I become very rebellious, in and out of juvenile detention all the time, every group home you could think of, until I ended up in juvenile penitentiary for 3 years. And they were going to keep me till I was 21 if my parents wouldn't let me go home into adult prison. Well, they let me come home. And then I got pregnant and all this stuff, but I really got into drugs and alcohol real bad, really bad. I was just a mess. I became a very violent person. I sang in bands in the bars and stuff, and I was always in the bars. And I was very violent. I was just always fighting and everything and beating everybody up and stuff. And anybody that looked at me wrong or whatever, I stayed in a lot of trouble. Okay. And, well, I got worse on drugs. I became getting violent towards my kids. That's what I did. And they were young teenagers. And I started getting violent towards them, very abusive and stuff, and verbally abusive, and I was verbally abusive to everybody, and all kind of abusive I was. And I just, there's a lot of stuff that went down that I could not forgive my own self for. Whole lot of stuff, man. And I had said something to my son that I regretted, and I was not good to I wasn't good to my kids, period. That's the way it was. And I wanted to, I'll be careful what I say on YouTube. I wanted to be done with this place. I wanted to be done. I was done. And I was like crying out to God. God, what's happening to me? Can you forgive me for the stuff I've done? I heard nothing. God, please, can you let me know? Because if you don't talk to me, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take myself out of here. Come on now, talk to me. I got nothing. Well, it ended up to where I took a whole bunch of medicine, let's put it that way. And that was my goal, to die. I wanted death. I wanted death. I didn't want to be here anymore. And so I'm laying back on my bed now after taking all these medicines, and I'm waiting. And I know, I'm thinking, I'm looking out this window in the bedroom. I'm thinking, man, about 10 minutes, I'm not going to exist anymore. I'm not going to be here no more. It's over. I guess I'm going to the pit. You know, I was already in a pit on earth. I couldn't take it. And I didn't see myself flying out my body or swirling down no tunnels or nothing like that. I didn't see no lights. But what I did see, one minute I'm looking out the window, the next minute I'm literally stepping through something. I'm stepping through what looks like maybe I don't know, a black looking curtain. I don't know what it was, but I'm stepping through it. And when I step through it, I'm in the desert, right? And I'm actually looking that way. I'm like, where am I at? I'm in the desert, man. And I knew I was back there behind me. I knew I was back there before. It was this place. This ain't heaven. This ain't hell. I'm in the desert. And I'm looking around, and then I look this way, and it's just barren. There's nothing there, just barren desert. There's a barn right there in front of me, and a white picket fence in front of the barn. And I look this way, and there's my mom. But my mother was alive during this time. She was on earth. I'm like, well, where am I? And what are you doing here? You know, what are you doing here? So I'm thinking that. I walk over to her, and the first thing she says, she points to the barn. She said, look, there's Jesus. And I turn around and look, and I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to see him. I know what I just done to get there, all that stuff. I was like, And so she's like, and we walk up towards that fence, and he's sitting on if you're looking at it, he's sitting on the right side of the barn. He looks like a kid. He looks about 12 years old. And he's teaching this, he's sitting on like a stump or a rock or something, but his back is to the barn, and he's teaching these older men. There's like this older men lounging around him, really intrigued and listening. He had this brown curly hair, all short curly hair and stuff, and he looked like a kid. So I'm looking, I'm thinking, why does he look like a kid? You know, this is really weird. And now Mother and I are walking down that fence. We're walking down the fence, and I'm noticing this fence. I keep paying attention to this fence, man. This fence is really sticking out to me in front of that barn. And we get to the end of the fence, and I'm noticing this is the end of the fence. It sounds crazy, but this is the end of the fence. When we get to the end of the fence, I'm getting ready to take another step, and I hear right over here on the other side of the barn now, one more step, you'll be in outer darkness, and you're not coming back. And I stop, and I turn around, and there's Jesus as a man on this side of the barn. And I back up, and we're staring face to face, eye to eye. I couldn't tell if he hated me, if I made him sick. I couldn't tell. I knew I made him unhappy. He didn't give me a mean look, but it was stern. It was just a blank stare, square in my eyes. And when he did that, he held it out a few seconds. Everything I've ever done that I ever did, man, I could remember it all. Like, I could remember it all. And I was like, oh man, what did he stop me for? He wants to throw me in the pit itself, out of darkness. What did he stop me for? And he was just like letting me go there and do this for a few minutes. And then it's like almost, he didn't say this, but it was like he's enough. So he's letting me sit here and remember, just staring me down, eye to eye, man. And then he nods his head down because he's taller than me, and he smiles, this beautiful smile, and he reached his right hand out and laid it on my left shoulder right here. That's when my mouth hit the floor right then. And he said, I forgive you. He said, you're going to teach the people my word. He said, my own people do not know my word. My people don't know what it means to believe. My people don't know what it means to be baptized in the water. Well, when he said this to me, I didn't know either. And I did not know how I was going to do anything. I didn't understand this at all. For all these years, this was 18 years ago. I understood none of this. None of this made no sense to me. Okay. And he showed me, he said quite a lot. Some of this stuff is personal, but some of it needs to be said. But he showed me those men that was over here on the right side of the barn. Now they're in front of the barn. Okay. They're out there in the desert right there. And they look like them scribes or Pharisees and log robes on and stuff. They just look like men. Everybody just looked like people there. Everybody, even Jesus, just looked like per people, you know. But now they're sitting there. And he told me, he said, people aren't relying on the Holy Spirit to teach them my word. So they were sitting there like, what do you think this means? What do you think this means? And their hands went up. they unanimously voted. He said, there went destructive doctrines throughout the generation. He said, it's not my word. Not my word. Okay, I didn't know what to do with any of this stuff. He took me down a little bit further. He never did come across that fence. He stayed on that side of the fence the whole time. And I'm on this side of the fence the whole time. But now we're looking over, we're still on the same time that fence was between us, which I know now what that means. Then I had no idea. I wasn't even thinking about it. He showed me, we looked over this kind of, I don't know what it was, a balcony kind of thing, I reckon. And I saw Eve eating, not an apple, but she was eating some fruit. And then I looked to the right, and he was showing me sin going down into the womb. And I looked to the right, and there was these beautiful looking, majestic looking reptilian beings that looked like people, but they were reptilian, but they were beautiful. They weren't scary. They weren't ugly. They were very majestic. I had no idea what none of that meant. None of that meant. Back at the barn, when he turned around, he had a white robe on, but it wasn't all shiny for me. There was no sunshine in my story. But he had a robe on with a rope. Okay. And he turned away from me to look over where he was at. And I noticed his arm right here was muscular, very muscular. And I remember thinking, wow, Jesus pretty fit. He's been up there pumping iron or something, man. He's pretty fit. And then he turns back around, and I never thought no more about it, ever, ever. Most of the time, when I did think, I didn't know what to make of it. Anyway, he showed me some more stuff. And then he says, give your life to me. Go live for me. And I come to puking up. I'm violently puking up, pills everywhere, puking up, telling my husband, I just saw Jesus, and it made no sense, but that is what happened. And then the next day, my sister had no idea what I had done. She had no clue, no idea. She calls me up. She's like, Kim, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but you need to change it. Because I had a dream last night, the night I had a dream last night you were burning in hell. And then I got freaked out about that. I was like, oh man, did God show her everything I done too? I was like, oh no, she know that. I was like freaking out. Oh man, I wonder if she knows what I done and all this stuff, bit scared. But just I didn't know what to make of it or think about it. I never did know. Now, speed it forward about, I don't know, maybe 10 more years from there, we move in this house. And I'm still not a Christian. I did not become a Christian until 2.5 years ago. I'm in my bedroom and I'm making up my bed and I'm on my Percocet, my pills. I'm all addicted and stuff, I have my pills. I loved my pills. And I was making up my bed and I hear him in my room. And he's like, my people do not know my word. And I'm like, what do you want me to do about it? I can do nothing about it. And I do. I have 2 weeks into the 8th grade education. I was so much in trouble. I never finished school. I did go back later in my 30s and went to night school and took a GED test that I failed 3 or 4 times. The lady said, you may as well give it up. I said, no, test me again. And I passed it, maybe by accident, but I passed it. But the education's not there. So I did not know what in the world or how I was going to do anything about this, what he said. What was I going to do? So I didn't know what to do about it. So I kind of swept it under the rug. I didn't know what to do with none of it. And throughout the years, you imagine, here you are with Jesus. And the only thing first thing will pop in my mind when I did think about it was that fence. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm with Jesus, man. And all I can think about is that fence, that white picket fence. And that's true. Well, speed it forward. April 24, 2020, my mama passes on, and my mother was my God, not God. My mama was my God. I worshiped my mother. Okay. And that's the way it was. So the night before he took her home with dementia and Alzheimer's, I was very angry at God. I remember being on the driveway. They're like, she's going to go in a few hours, Kim, she's going to go. And I'm home now, and COVID's got the world shut down. I couldn't go visit her, and just a big bunch of mess. I was very angry at God. And so I'm on the driveway cussing God out. I mean, volatile. Tell your holy son to do what, I was really volatilely cussing all 3 of them out. And I was just distraught. I was distraught. And then a few hours later, she goes. I never apologized at that time, not yet. She goes. And that was the biggest fear of my life, man, was the day I had to look at my mama in that box. That I was scared of that since I was a little girl. Every day, man, it was just, oh my goodness. And here it was. Here it was. And so we just had a terrible night. And I fall back on the couch for about 15 minutes, knowing I got to go look at her in a funeral home in just about 3 hours. And I just kind of passed out. I was exhausted, man. And I came to for about 15 minutes. And when I sat up, that smell was in my house. I smelled this smell 3 or 4 times when I was a kid. It's a particular smell that ain't nothing on this earth to smell like it. You can't describe it. There's nothing on this planet that smells like it. And there it was. When I came to, I sat up off that couch sniffing, man. My house was full of it. And I knew right away it was God. It's either God or angels or something from heaven. I didn't think it was her. I knew what it was. I smelled that before as a kid, every now and then, man. And it was so strong in my house, man. And I run to the garage to get my husband, like, Chris, come here. Do you smell this? I knew what it was. Do you smell this? He's like, Kim, I don't smell nothing. I'm like, how can you not smell this, man? It's everywhere. And I was like, forget it. I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. God's going to help me get through this. And after I cussed him out the night before, and he did. At that moment right there, I was like, well, but I didn't know at that moment either that I was about to lose the rest of my family. And I still don't know why. Don't know why. My siblings, my stepdad went a week before her. But so I'm looking at my mom over that box, man, and I'm about to die, really. And my husband went to get me tissues, and I don't have any siblings with me, and nobody's there. I didn't know at that point it was over with us yet. I did not know. We wasn't fighting or nothing. I don't know what happened. But I felt God's hand on my back, looking at my mom over that box, man. And I'm telling you, and I was like, oh, yeah. So I came home from that, and I find out then that it's over with me and my siblings. And I did not know why. I'm not talking about just over. I'm talking about it was over. Not just not talking. It was over, and I don't know why. So I was going to do it again that day, April 24, 2020. Oh, yeah, it was too much loss for me, man, because I'm the baby of 4, very much into my family, and it was over. Whole thing over. And I didn't know why, man. And I couldn't deal with it. So I had to make a decision, because here I got grandkids and my husband and my daughter living here. So I couldn't do that. I didn't know what to do. So I was like, I had to make a decision, man. I was like, can you live with this? So I said, all right, God. I really literally went face first in the mud in the front yard, went down to my knees and face first in the mud. And I was like, here I am, God, all of me, every inch of me, but you're going to have to help me. You help me, and I got your back, man, but you're going to have to help me. And I'm telling you, he has, man. And I'm talking about, I've played games with God. I went to witchcraft further back, in my early 20s. I've dabbled in all that mess, man. I've felt fingers running through my hair. I've levitated off the floor. I went into this church group one time when I don't know what I was, 21, 22, when I was trying to come out of that witchcraft stuff. I stayed in it about a year. I was reading everybody's tarot cards perfectly. Everything was coming out all amazing perfectly, and it was scaring me. I was like, whoa. Ouija board stuff and all that mess, man. And when I was like, I don't want to mess with this, I started feeling fingers running through my hair, levitating off the floor, all this bunch of mess. So I stopped to this little church on my sister's road, little Church of God or something. And I went in, I was like, I don't know none of y'all, and I'm not nuts. I said, but I need help. I'm feeling demons, man. They're after me, and I don't know what to do about it. And they bring me up, and they're all praying over me. And this man to my left right here, he's real tall. He starts everybody's at the altar. When I'm saying with my mouth shut at that altar, I said, okay, God, you're going to have to protect me now. You're going to have to protect me. He didn't know I was saying that. That man busts out crying, tears going down his face. He said, ma'am, I've never had this happen to me before, but since you're asking for protection, I heard God tell me he's sending angels to protect you right now. And that freaked me out. I was like, what? How did he know I was praying? I said, I run out to church. Here they come after me. Why'd you run? I said, because that man did not know what I was saying to God in my head. So they're like, Kim, we want to take you to a Benny Hinn crusade. I had never heard of no Benny Hinn. I didn't know who Benny Hinn was. Okay. But there's this group offering me, and I was like, okay. So we went the next weekend to Benny Hinn crusade at this Coliseum. And he said, people have been set free from witchcraft. He said, my group's going, go up there, go up there. So I'm like the 100th person lined up, and he comes off the stage and passes all them people up, comes straight to me and said, pull her up here. And I was like, oh boy, he passes all them people up with that world. And he gets me on that stage and come out, and I'm flying all over the stage, man. Pick her up, pick her up, pick her up. And it was going so fast. And I remember that I was on my stomach, and I felt his foot on my back. But to me, it felt like I was on my stomach, but it felt like I was bending backwards with my feet in my head. It felt like I was bending backwards. That's what I felt. And I felt his foot come out in the name of Jesus, and it did. And then I felt like I had a shower. But when I got down and asked my group, I said, was I bending backwards? They said, no, girl, you were levitated off the ground about 4 feet. He had to put his foot up there and push you back down. And I was like, oh, wow, man. But what was wrong with it was nobody told me what to do after that. I didn't know what to do. I had no clue. What I do now? Nobody told me. And I didn't go back to church. So I got worse on drugs and stuff. And that was, I don't know, it's 21-ish maybe. It's a long time ago. I'm 54 now. So it was a while back. But I didn't know what to do, man. I didn't know what to do with that. I knew that happened. There's so much that went down that I didn't understand anything that happened to me throughout my life, some of the weirdest stuff, until April 24th, 2020. When I made that decision I had to go to God. Sometimes when you run hard enough, you keep running, man, he'll bring you down to your knees. God will allow it, and he'll bring you down to your knees until you give your life to him. Long as you do, just long as you do. And that's what happened to me. And I did. I gave my life to him, like seriously, like no games. This ain't no games. This is for real, and I have to have him. And for what I went through, I have to have him, man. And since I made that decision and I'm walking in it and I'm abiding in it, the first thing he revealed to me, that's when I started understanding stuff. The first thing he revealed to me about the desert was that fence. That's the first thing he revealed. And I hear him very clearly all the time. He said, Kim, that fence was your sins. It was between me and you. You got to tear this fence down. And you saw my right arm muscles. He said, because that's my strength that's getting you through your grief, loss, and mourning. You saw my strength helping you through. And it is. And it really is. You saw me teaching on the side of the barn when I was like a 12-year-old little kid with that curly hair. He said, you saw me teaching when I was a kid, older men, because you're going to be young spiritually when I put you out there to teach my word, which is what he's doing. I ain't been a Christian for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, none of that, and he's teaching like I have a lot of pastors telling me, they're like, girl, you got ancient wisdom coming out your mouth. Well, it's Jesus. It's Jesus. It ain't no glory to me. It is God. It is God. And that's the days we're living in, man, that we're living in the days. The church is so messed up. It is all over the place. All kind of destructive doctrines. He told me, fighting in the church amongst themselves, just all messed up, man. That Jesus ain't, a lot of the church don't worship Jesus. Okay, it's very messed up. So for him to pick up off the ground a little drug addict and blow the dirt off me and put me out there to teach his word to his people, it's desperate. We in desperate times. He showed me them reptile looking being things over there. He was showing me about sin. Then he showed me them little reptile looking things. They were beautiful though. You wouldn't have been scared of them. They were beautiful. Deception. He was showing me deception in the church. He told me right now we are in what is called the Great Deception. It's all over the place. You got your religion. He told me, he said, I have no part in the desert. He said, I have no part of religion or denomination. You got your Buddhists, you got your, I don't even know, your Judaism, you got your this, your that. It's all divided up. And then within the church, the denominations, you got your Catholics, you got your Baptists that do speak in tongues, your Baptists don't believe in speaking tongues. It's all divided up. God is a relationship, heart to heart, personal, intimate relationship, and there's not much of it out there. He showed me in the desert. I call it an ocean full of people, but it wasn't an ocean. It was just like you couldn't see either end of it. It was that far back and that far. All these people, man, and they were all yelling and screaming, I preached for you. I did this. I did that. I. And he said, you can't come in here. And I didn't know what to work. And when I got saved now, the past 2.5 years, man, I found that everything he showed me, I've been finding it in the Bible these past 2.5 years. Luke 13 started verse 22. All them people sitting up in the church thinking they're holier now, and they know they ain't obeying God's commands. They know they ain't spending no time studying his word. They know they ain't praying to God. They know that they're fake. It's fake everywhere, fakery. They can talk Jesus all they want to, but ain't no action to back it up in their life. That's them people. Luke 13:22 is going to be like, why can't I get in? I did this, I did that. He's going to say, because I don't know you. You didn't have a relationship with me. You weren't real with me. There's a very narrow road of people actually going to get back to God. And that's what he put me out here for. And that's what I do. I go get them. I go get them. And I take a lot of my people. I spend a lot of time with my people, one-on-one, personal, very personal with these people. Look at the bags. I work with these people day and night, all the time, no matter what. And just teach. Come on, do you understand? Are you getting it? Are you getting it? Are you getting it? Do you understand? Do you see it? Do you see it? I mean, it's big time. But this is what he let me live to do. This is what he saved me for. This is what he put me out here for. And the pastors ain't doing it. The pastors ain't doing their job. Misguiding their flock. This doctrine stuff they got going on out there. He hates it. He hates it. He hates it. Jesus hates it. Okay, so he's looking for worshipers in spirit and truth. Now, the first 6 months that I got saved, I was in heavy grief and mourning, big time. I just lost a lot of people, man. And he was giving me all these dreams and visions, all these dreams of stuff that's coming, that's happening now. And it was 2.5, almost 3 years ago. And I would tell my group and stuff, I was like, you guys, you're going to start seeing a lot of meteorites. You're going to start seeing volcanoes blow, and you're going to start seeing these CMEs shooting off. The sun's going to start this coming fall. That was 2 falls ago. God showed it to me about 7-8 months before it started. And what happened? The fall that came, September, the volcano La Palma started blowing. And then in October, all the meteorite showers started flying. The CME started shooting. He said it's going to increase and intensify. It didn't let up. It ain't let up. We're hearing about it all the time. These meteorites flying, volcanoes, asteroids, just increasing like he said it was going to do. He showed me this earthquake today, about 8 months ago in the Middle East. He showed, and my group knows. I mean, he shows me stuff that comes to pass. It happens. But like I tell my group, why is he showing me this stuff? Just to say he showed it to me? No, because we got to get ourselves on fire. Make your mind up. Choose your God. Who's your God? We ain't out here playing romper room church games. This is for real. Make your mind up. You know, people don't believe in a hell. I'm sorry. I was going to it. He told me I was going to outer darkness. There's one more step. You ain't coming back. You know, a lot of people want to make his word a lie. You can't change God's word. A lot of people maybe would like to believe there's not a hell, but there is one. And I almost went there. You know, in his word, you can't make his word a lie, but that's what a lot of people want to do. A lot of people talk religion, that he ain't got no part of that. You know, a lot of people serve, it don't matter. Just not that many people love the Lord. They don't appreciate what he did, and they don't live for him, and they're not going to make it. And like he looked over that fence to me, he got real close to me. A lot of people was like, what do he look like? Well, I was in his face. I saw exactly what he looked like, you know, but I wasn't standing there thinking, oh, that's what he looks like, you know. I was there for something very, very serious, man. You know, and here he is. And when I turned around, I knew him. I knew I had made him sad. I know that. That's what I knew. I disappointed him. That's what I knew. And but he got real close over that fence, real close to my face. And I didn't understand why he did that either. But he got eyeball to eyeball, and he did his eyebrows up kind of funny. He says, some will listen, some will not. Well, I go all those years not knowing what the world that means, you know, what the world. But now that I've actually, when I gave my life to him, it's like the switch. He anointed me. That's what he did. He was showing me, Kim, this is your barn. This is your barn. I created you to guide sheep to this barn. Your barn is empty. You're in the desert because you're barren. You're barren. You're dying, girl. You are dead, more dead than what you're about to be if you walk. You're dead. You're dying. You're barren. There's no fruits. There's no nothing. Ain't no sheep, and it's dry. He's in the desert, you know. So he explained to me everything what was going on there. He said, your mother is here, because it's like with him teaching on the right side as a kid. like he took me back 2,000 years ago, because there he was as a child sitting there teaching these older men like a kid. And then down this end, now he's showing me my future. Because then he's like, you will understand. He didn't say this, but I knew now. He was saying, with my mom being there, you will understand all this the day I bring your mother home, because that's when it's going to happen. And that's exactly how it happened. You know, there she was, because she was alive when this happened. But the day he took her home was when all this happened. And now I understand very clear my desert experience, why I had to experience it. I'm living it out right now. I'm living out the desert every day right now, experiencing it. I have a lot of people that come, man, over to me that it seems like almost every one of these people that come to me either has somebody that has, I want to be careful what I say on the channel because YouTube's funny, that has either they have had somebody that's taken themselves out, or they, a family member, I'm talking about, can I say the word on here? I don't know. Suicide,
Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Or they themselves had thought about it, or they have a son or a daughter or a sister or brother or mother, somebody that's done it. Every one of them. Yeah. And I'm like, wow. And God just really, that's what he's bringing to me, and helping these people. My situation is helping people. And that's what he's using to help me get through the darkest part of my life. It's like when you reach out, he's taught me this, when you reach out and help other people, when you can't even help yourself and you're still trying to help somebody else, it helps you back. That's what it does. That's what he's doing, and helping me back by helping other people. And that's what he's doing. Yeah.
Where do
And
you go to find people?
I don't go anywhere. I haven't written a book. I just got my YouTube channel, and we go into the barn. We have a website. I don't go trying to find people. Like, I don't monetize my videos and stuff like that, because I'm not there for that. This is very serious. What I've experienced and what I'm experiencing is very serious. And I don't want my people to have to sit through a commercial when they're trying to hear a message from God or a lesson from God. I refuse to do that. And I don't want that to grip me either, money. I don't want that to take over me. I've seen a lot of pastors that take over and everything to do about it, and I refuse it. My people do help me, yeah, but they'll never see me ask for it or monetize. So I haven't written a book or anything like that. I teach. That's what he told me to do. And then, like I just went with Randy Kay. I went on Deep Believer, and God will send people when he's ready to. I'm getting ready to go on Sid Roth. God moves them in at his time. He gives me time to adjust to the people. Then I grow with the people. Then he'll send in another round. Then I grow, because I'm so personal with these people. Very personal with these people.
You say you don't go anywhere, but you go to a bar, like, and then put it on YouTube, or I understand. Barn.
On our
Okay.
website, because I was at the barn. That was my barn that was empty.
Okay.
So go into it. You got a Zoom. We do a Google Meet room. That's what we do.
Okay.
And we call it barn, because that's where we go and have church Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the barn. That's my barn. That's my barn. God put me out here on the internet. He put me on the internet. I could say he gave me a church with no walls. That's what he did. So I teach.
Okay. What's the name of your channel?
We are Jesus Doers.
Okay.
I teach there like Monday through Friday, and then we go in the barn on Google Meets Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we discuss everything that we learned throughout the week. Make sure you get it. Are you getting it? Are you growing? Are you helping you? And that's what we do.
Do you have guests, or is this a group of people that normally meet?
Yeah, there's about 70 of us that go in the room, and we have church. Church. And sometimes we have guests. Yeah. Sometimes we've had a couple guests in there to come in and give their testimonies and stuff, kind of like what you got me doing. I have some people come in and do that sometimes. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So is a different person that kind of like is the minister that does the church?
That's me.
Like just by telling their story. Is you?
Oh, okay. In the barn, what we do is we go in there and have church. We start off with praise and worship, some music, we pray, and then we get into the studies. We study, and then we give testimonies, we take prayer requests, and we play music, and then we're over by 10, and then we stay on in fellowship. Everybody just talks about whatever till sometimes 13 hours. We've done that before. Can't do that all the time. They're about to kill me. But we do stand there and give everybody a chance to get out whatever they need to get out. If they need to talk, if they need prayer, whatever. But we come together in fellowship because that's what's happening. A lot of Christians are trying to do it on their own, and they don't trust these churches anymore. They've become like corporations out there. You know, it's all about whatever. But they need fellowship. We need fellowship because some of us are walking this Christian walk by ourselves. Our families ain't Christians, you know, so we're kind of alone in it. And we need each other, which is why he said, forsake not assembling ourselves together. So he put me right here on the internet. And then we go in that Google Meet room 3 nights a week and we have church, full-blown church. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it helps each other because we are what we have. You know, all of our families don't understand. You know, like if I tell my family that God showed me, which my group knows, 8 months ago that this earthquake was going to happen in the Middle East, they'd think I was nuts. But my group understands. We understand prophecy. We understand. I'm not calling myself a prophet. I don't know what I am, but I know God is teaching me prophecy because it's happening. Everything showed me. I don't know what to call myself, but yeah, it's all happening. Everything he showed me is happening right in front of our face. You know, so we go in there and it's very encouraging to come together when nobody else around you understands you, you know? And that's why he said, forsake not assembling thyself together. And that's what we do. And that's called, I have a website. My website is jesusdoers.com. Not that we are, just jesusdoers.com. I have Igor. He lives in Australia and he helps. He does the world news and all that stuff. And then we are Jesus Doers on YouTube. And we're so busy with that, we ain't got no time to do nothing else. No time to do nothing. It's busy.
Did you ever find out why your family wanted nothing more to do with you?
No. Okay, with that, no, I don't know why. Really, we don't know why. There's no reason why. There's no reason why. But I know why God let it happen. And that's what he taught me through that. He taught me forgiveness. I understood that about 3 months into it because it was over, man. But I knew, I trusted God. I learned to trust him. I was like, God, this can't be your will to bust a family up. This can't be your will. You know, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, and it's like, Kim, you got to get to know me. So I told you my mom was my God. So God was teaching me like, now who's your God, Kim? Who you need now? I am your God, right? So as I got really focused, I started building my faith that I know God's going to restore. And within the past year, boom, here come my older sister. And I kept my faith, man. And then here come my brother a little bit. Boom, 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 kept my faith. Then here come my sister. Now we're kind of all talking again. We went out to lunch around Christmas time. I mean, it's open. God is a God of restoration. But he had to teach me a whole lot. God allowed that to happen. God did that whole thing. Painful as it was, man. He allowed that to happen to get me to do what I'm supposed to be doing because I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing nothing with God, nothing. And when I got saved, you know, I've been a musician, so I quit all that. And I quit going to the bars and stuff. And I play rock and roll. And, you know, I know some of the Leonard Skinner band members, you know, I play some kind of music. And when I got saved, I didn't even feel right, even playing anything like that. So I got my guitar and I'm like, God, I don't even know what to do. But you know what? Go back up to when I was about 18 or 19. One of my friends, this young black girl, she was a good friend of mine. She said, come go to church with me. She bugging me down. I'm like, I ain't going to church. And then finally I said, okay, we went. And I'm the only white one in this whole church. Prophet named Bobby Brown there from Pennsylvania. And me and her sitting in the back. And here he comes walking down the aisle. The church is packed straight to me. I said, girl, I will get you for this. And so he pulls me up. We go up to the altar and she's laughing. And I'm like, I'll get you. And we go to the altar and he starts prophesying over me. And I thought this man was so full of baloney, man. I was like, this man is so full of hogwash that I didn't even hear what he said. And he knows I won't listen. And then he stopped. He said, ma'am, he said, God told me to tell you that he sees you when you're home crying and you don't know why you're crying. Then I went, what? Because all that week I did, I come in from work because her and I cleaned houses together then. Kick my shoes up, I just cry. And I say, why are you crying, you crazy girl? Ain't nothing to cry over. Well, God woke me up. And then I heard him. And he was saying, the devil's going to try to steal your life through suicide. You know, God says, give your life to him. He's going to use you in his kingdom, all this stuff. God's going to give you songs to write. And then I thought again, well, ain't none of that going to happen. You know, so I walked away like, oh boy, he lost it there. Well, a few years later, it all happened. God's given me those songs to write. I'm in his kingdom, doing my thing, doing what he got me here to do. Everything happened. I tried to take myself. Even the Ouija board had told me that before I took it back to Toys R Us, because that's what I did. I was doing a Ouija board, and I said, how was I going to die? This is years ago. And it spelled suicide. Kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself. That's what it kept doing. And I was like, whoa, taking this back Toys R Us. I should have burned it, but I took it back, got my money back then. I wanted my money back. This is probably about 20 years ago. And so sitting in front of Toys R Us, I said, let's do it one more time. And asked it again, are you mad that I'm taking you back, getting a refund? It's spelled F-U, you stupid F-and-B-I-T-C-H. That's what it's spelled. And I said, did this board just cuss me out? And it did it again. It spelled the same thing again, man. So you go back to when I was 3 years old. I know now Satan was trying to kill me since the day I was born. He was trying to kill me the day I was born. My brother was upset that I was a girl because there's all girls in our family. And he pulled me off the bed and busted my head on the floor. You know, Satan been trying to kill me since I was born, because God is doing a mighty thing through my life right now. But I allow him to. You know, I had to give total submission to God, total submission. He's taught me how to forgive. He's taught me through so many tests and trials how to, instead of cussing somebody out, they say something I don't like. He's taught me how to have a more humble spirit. Yeah, because that's not how I used to be. A more humble spirit. You know, he's everything. I mean, he's taught me so much, man. But look what he had to do. He allowed me to lose my family. That's what brought me down to my knees. He shut all the doors off around me. I was alone, man. And it was a horrible place to be. But that's what I had to do. That's what he had to do to turn me to him. And that's what it did happen. And man, it's like I live every day now, like this supernatural life. Every day I hear him so clear. Nobody on this planet teaches me the word. Nobody never has. I hear him so clear. And when I study, and that's that anointing, when I study, he taught me a certain way to study that I show people. And you can't miss it. He's like he pulls blinders off your eyes. And you get like this mega understanding, like, whoa, I see it. You know, and that's what he's doing. He's like, now you take what I teach you and you go share it with the people. I don't know everything, I mean, about it, the Bible, but what he's taught me, you know, I share. But if I don't know something, people ask me, I'm like, I don't know, girl, he ain't taught me yet. If I don't know, I don't know. You know, but I do know what he has taught. And that's, you know, what he's teaching, what it means to be baptized, what it means, you know, to believe. People don't really know what that means. And a bunch of people ain't going to make it. A lot of people think they are, but they're not going to make it. So here's me and the Lord trying to help a lot of people make it. And he's raising up little disciples in our room. There's people that come in. A lot of them came in very, very babyfied, man. And now they're growing up so fast spiritually. I'm talking about they're growing up so fast. They're already out there street witnessing and stuff. They just like spreading like little ripples, man. Yeah, the ones that want it, they get it. They get I tell them, you get as much of God as you want. That's how much you get. You don't want much, you won't get much. You want a lot, go get him. He's right there, man. Always right there. I got a good group of people though over there. Yeah. That's my story.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing that with us. And I wish you all the luck in the world. Sounds you're doing a lot of good for the people that need it most.
Yeah, there's a lot of depression going on out there right now, everywhere. So much depression. I think when that, you know, I'm talking about happened, the big C a couple years ago, all of it shut the world down, really messed a lot of people up. Everybody's depressed, lost their jobs, losing family. I mean, it's all over the place. So that's one reason too why we come in the barn, because we come together, you know, and those people cherish that. They do. Sometimes I don't feel like doing it. Sometimes I'm exhausted, man, but I do it for them because that's some of those people's heart. They don't have nobody else to talk to, or, you know, all that stuff. So we become like a family over there on my bike. I just got like 2,500 new people from Deep Believer, and instantly, man, we're like family. Boom. We stayed in that barn 13 hours a night, 3 nights in a row. And that's how long we stayed all night long. It's going to be at 5 o'clock in the morning. in the bags, I'm telling you. But I've learned to put an order to it and shut it down early. But we become like instant connect, just connect, you know? And so I got some good people for sure. A lot of good people over there. They're good. They're helping me too, really. Now, I don't mean just financially. I'm talking about everywhere, every other way. You know, they give me someone to help and they help me back too. Yeah, it's like family. That's what it's like over there at We Are Jesus Doers, because it is. Yeah.
Awesome.
But thank you so much, Peggy. And God
I
bless
noticed you do the same thing I do. You got the grandma.
Well, I teach down in the basement, and it's cold down here, girl. I'm gonna get cold down
And
here
I think
today.
yours is just like mine, only different color. Oh, you got a coat? Okay.
Yep, it's my jacket, just in case it's freezing down here. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.